Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. After watching episode 2 of season 3's Naked and Afraid Last One Standing, I gotta say that it was a bittersweet experience, and if I had to rate the episode on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a solid 7. Some parts of this episode were predicted in my episode 1 review, while other parts of the episode came as a complete surprise, which makes me wonder which survivalist from this season will truly be the last one standing. But over the course of this review, I'll share my thoughts on the highlights for the episode, and I'll also share my thoughts on the remaining 4 teams, which will range from the strongest to the weakest. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. The first highlight that I want to talk about is the double elimination highlight. And spoiler alert, I told you so. As predicted in last week's video, Trish and Matt would win their respective elimination challenges, and this conclusion was easy to come by, because whoever was in charge of editing for the episode showed Matt and Trish competing in several other challenges during the preview clips. But I must say that the elimination challenge itself was pretty interesting to watch. In this challenge, the survivalists had to gather materials needed for a controlled burn. Once they got the fire going, the fire must travel in a straight line, and the fire leads to another signal fire. The 2 survivalists who get their signal fire lit first is safe from elimination. Now, as I watched this challenge unfold, I couldn't help but notice the differences between the men and women as they competed for this spot on the show. The showdown between Matt and Trent was a grudge match for sure. Matt was the first to get his fire going, and he used his pelt to fan the flames so the fire could travel faster. Trent spotted this technique, and he decided that when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Things got so heated, no pun intended, that the challenge ended in a photo finish. If Matt was fully healthy, I feel that he would have won this challenge decisively, but Trent was a good competitor, and he has my full respect for being part of the experience. Now, the showdown between Trish and Kayla C was as competitive as watching Eminem doing a rap battle with Kid Rock. Trish beat Kayla C in a decisive manner, but the way Kayla and Trish used their sticks and machetes to guide the fire along made me wonder if the actions were within the challenge rules or if that would be considered cheating. Nevertheless, Trish and Matt won, and this win lands them on 2 new teams, which brings me to the next episode highlight. When Matt joined Laura and Max, there was immediate chemistry, and Matt was given a warm welcome. The medic also came by to check on Matt, and he gave Matt the heads up to continue the challenge. So while I would consider Matt to be the 3rd strongest member of the team, his arrival definitely gave the team a morale boost, which is pretty dangerous when you consider that the team already had a high level of morale. The same can't be said about Trish and her new team. While Matt was welcomed with open arms by his team, Trish's team treated her like a red-headed stepchild. Jamie seemed to not understand that Tripp was joining the team, while Suzanne became very combative with Trish very early on. In my last review, I had Jamie and Suzanne as the weakest team for the season, and judging by how they reacted to Trish joining them, I don't see this team as being a threat at any point of the show. The third highlight that I want to talk about is Patrick in his full embrace of being a villain for the season. In this episode, Patrick had swum by Jamie's camp and had stolen a fishing line as the line was in the water. For a few seasons, Naked and Afraid legend Jeff was on Last One Standing, and he always talked about stealing from other survivalists, but he never actually went through with the plan. He always wanted to make people think that he would go through with it, but not Patrick. Patrick seems fully committed to the idea of getting a competitive advantage by any means necessary. But with that stolen fishing line, Patrick's team managed to catch several large fish. Now naturally, I can see why Jamie's team was upset that one of their lines had been stolen, but I definitely don't understand why Matt was upset about it. Stealing is within the rules, and Matt really doesn't have much room to talk after his antics in season 1 trying to starve Jeff out of the competition. If Patrick continues to be a threat in the show, I could see Matt trying to organize a plot with the other teams to starve Matt and his team out. However, the difference between Jeff and Patrick is that Jeff was just one person against the world, while Patrick will have the support of his other 2 teammates when things get rough. Now, the 4th highlight that I want to talk about for this episode would be the cash challenge. In past seasons of Last One Standing, survivalists will have to use a map to find a cleverly hidden survival asset that could be used to help the team somewhere down the road. The 3 survival items in this challenge were a waterproof paracord, a 6-foot hide, and a bow and arrow. But there was a significant change in the cash challenge rules for this season. Instead of the teams using a map to find the items, teams must first decide which members will try to retrieve which specific survival items before the start of the challenge. And instead of needing to find the actual survival asset, whoever shows up for the item has to compete in a survival skills challenge, and the winner of the challenge will get the item. This little change had a significant impact, because in my opinion, all of the challenges for these survival assets require multiple people to complete in a timely manner, and some challenges were harder than others. So for these teams to truly excel in the challenge, the members will not only have to be strategic in which members they send for the challenge, but whoever competes for the items would have to be fairly good at problem solving with their survival skills. So with this scene, I thought that the team of Laura, Max, and Matt had the smartest approach, because they sent Laura and Matt to work on retrieving the paracord, while Max went by himself to retrieve the bow and arrow. As a result, this team won the paracord, and Laura and Matt then joined Max to win the bow and arrow. Team Patrick, Cheney, and Jermaine were also impressive in this challenge. Patrick showed determination when competing for the paracord by himself, but it seemed like he served more of a distraction, while Cheney and Jermaine worked to get the hide. Jamie and Kai also competed with Cheney and Jermaine for the hide, and the challenge that they undertook for this hide was one that required all hands on deck. But because Cheney and Jermaine had the numbers on their side, they won and it wasn't even close. Jamie's team completely crashed apart during the entirety of this challenge, while Kai's team followed suit. And speaking of Kai, I want to talk about my last highlight, which is Kai being medically tapped. This scene was a shocker of all shockers for me, because I predicted Kai to win this season of the show. There have been several times in which Kai has shared that she had recently had abdominal surgery prior to giving the green light to come on Last One Standing. But in this episode, Kai had suffered an infection in her abdomen area, and she needed to be evacuated immediately. Kai is one of the strongest veterans on Naked and Afraid, and her presence will truly be missed. But with Kai gone from the competition, I think that this will change everything for the remaining groups. And speaking of the remaining groups, I want to talk about the groups in the order of strongest to weakest. As of right now, the strongest group has to be Laura, Max, and Matt. 3 Naked and Afraid vets that are very hungry and very competitive. This team currently has 2 sets of bows and arrows, as well as a paracord, but they haven't scored a decent protein win yet. And if this group had any weaknesses, it would be Matt's overconfident and injury-prone nature. But I don't see this team losing any elimination challenges before the second phase of the season. The next team is of Patrick, Cheney, and Jermaine. Patrick is definitely playing chess while most of the other survivalists are playing checkers. Because of this, Patrick's team is in the best position to make it to the first 21 days. They have a bow and arrow, a stolen fishing asset, and a hide for the cold night. And while everybody on this team doesn't exactly have the same Naked and Afraid resume as everybody on Laura's team, this team will at least have the energy to compete in the upcoming challenges. The next team is Darren and Kayla. While there are only 2 people on this team, I won't write them off just yet. Kayla still has her fishing asset, and she has caught several fish thus far. Darren has his bushcrafting skills, and I believe that he is one of the best bushcrafters to still be on the show. Kayla is also an ultimate survivor who is able to overcome any challenges that come her way, so I wouldn't be surprised if this team squeaks past next week's elimination. Which leaves us with the last team, which is Jamie, Suzanne, and Trish. If we're being honest, I don't see this team winning any challenges as long as they're together. Jamie and Suzanne do not trust Trish, despite Trish having the most experience and insight with Last One Standing. And it doesn't seem like they want to work together to win. But episode 2 ended in a cliffhanger, with all the remaining survivalists preparing for the next elimination challenge. And if I had to make a prediction that was based on the previews, then I would say that Jamie, Suzanne, and Trish might lose the next challenge. And I came to this conclusion because there's a scene from the previews in which Suzanne talks about how much she hates losing. We also see scenes from Trish and Jamie appearing to be exhausted and sad. I'm thinking that all, if not most of these scenes, are from episode 3, and I think that Suzanne will be eliminated sooner than later because I really don't see much of her in the previews for the season. But these are my thoughts on episode 2, and I'd like to know what you all think about it. Please feel free to leave all comments below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.